Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have roll call.
Josh Gobert.
Present.
Jim Olthoff. J.B. Lobo.
Present.
Norm Stick.
Present.
Charlie Caper.
Present.
Bill Fisher.
Here.
Todd Wilkeny.
Here.
Carl Brittingham.
Here.
Nick Mager.
Here.
Ralph Miller.
Present.
Nick Recupero.
Here.
Dave Austin.
Yes. Present.
Nominations for chairman of the Board of Safety.
I would like to nominate Norm Stick for chairman.
I have a nomination for Norm Stick by Mr. Altoff. And I have a second.
I will second.
Seconded by Mr. Villalobos. Are there any other nominations for chairman, for the chairman? No other nominations. Nominations are closed. Roll call vote.
Josh Gobert.
Yes.
Jim Olthoff.
Yes.
Dave Lobo.
Yes.
Norm Stick.
Yes.
Charlie Caper.
Yes.
And I'll hand the gavel over to Mr. Stick. Here's your gavel.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for your comments. Now we'll open the floor up for nominations for vice chairman.
I nominate Mr. Caper.
Second?
I second it.
Any other nominations? I close the nominations. Vote, please.
Josh Gobert.
Yes.
Jim Olthoff.
Yes.
Dave Lobo.
Yes.
Norm Stick.
Yes.
Charlie Caper.
Yes.
Okay. Public comment? Public comment twice. Public comment 3 times. There will be none. We'll continue. Approval of the minutes of Wednesday, December 14th, 2022.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Second.
Jim, roll call vote.
Josh Gobert.
Yes.
Jim Olthoff.
Yes.
Dave Lobo.
Yes.
Norm Stick.
Yes.
Charlie Caper.
Okay, we'll move on to VIP's report.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Good
Tim.
evening.
See there in the December 2022 VIPS hours, everybody made their hours this last month, and we had a total of 11 call-out and details, 2 accident call-outs and 1 agency assist call-out, with the additional 8 details for crossing guard duty on 12/5, 12/6, 12/19, and 12/20.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for the report.
Thank you.
Any new people applying?
No, sir. Nobody wants to volunteer anymore. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Police, excuse me, Police Department communications.
Board, Mr. President, we have 3 communications this month. One, we had a thank you card from Divine and Dopes family. Officer Meyer assisted a female with some legal issues and some stalking issues that corrected it, and he received a Christmas card with a picture of their new baby, and so he presented it to me, so I wanted to mention that to you. We got a thank you letter from the Grafska family, which was Officer Solsky's grandmother, for passing. We sent some flowers to them. And we got a thank you from the Giuliani family for Officer Dills, who assisted with a baby that was having some medical conditions. The baby wasn't breathing, but I think it was related to a seizure, possibly. The father is a police officer also and was on shift at another place in Illinois. So Mom was having some struggles with it, and Officer Dills calmed her down, and she wanted to thank us for it, all that she did, and as she said, saving her baby's life. That's it.
Okay, number 6, finances.
You got a copy of the police department's finances spent for the month of December. There's some end of the year things. vehicle work is increasing drastically, unfortunately. We did order the 2023 golf cart decals to be issued out for this year. Did pay for some of our annual payments, like to the subscriptions. Thank you for the DataMaster or the ECR, which is our breath test machine. It's an annual payment that we have to make. Some other subscriptions for technology equipment and some basic work done. We ordered some patches this month. And then we did receive a donation from Schilling Brothers in the amount of $400 that went into our non-reverting. And then we did send out the letters for the 2023 DARE funding solicitation letters to get our DARE donations.
That $400 from Schillings, does that have to be approved by the town?
Nope. It's been pretty annual, wouldn't you say, Sarah?
Yeah.
We've been getting it pretty annually from them, just a general donation, you know, for whatever we may need, so.
Okay, is that all for that report?
Yes, sir.
Okay, number 7, staffing.
So we finished all the paperwork up with Sabrina Stolars. Her paperwork is down at PERF. Turns out, in 2022, they updated the PERF packet, which I was unaware of when we completed it. So we got a letter after we sent it down that it was the wrong packet. We went through it. There's not much change, just a few items that were changed. So luckily my staff, including Sarah, worked really hard at it, completed the packet, got it back over to the doctor for re-signatures, got it back to the, let me just say doctors plural for their signatures, and we faxed it down this morning so they have it now. Let's hope that they're meeting tomorrow because they meet on Thursdays, but we'll see. So if they're meeting tomorrow, we could get information that they're good to go for next month. My goal has always been to try to have her on the first February meeting with the council, in front of the council for approval, but we're just waiting to PERF wait now, so.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, annual training report.
Let me finish that staffing, sir, real quick. I apologize, it's the last thing there. We did start our 12-hour shifts January 1st. Things are going very well. We did have a little hiccup, and without going into a huge detail, which I think Mr. Villalobos and Mr. Stick already know from when we did our policy updates, there was a 4-hour differential between a 12-hour and a 8-hour schedule over an entire year, adding up to about 104 hours. We were going to push that through because the officer requires 86 hours of pay before it hits overtime, and that would only be 84, but it really messed up with their overtime rate when they work. So that would mean that a sergeant working 8 hours or a patrolman working 8 hours would actually be making $2 an hour more than an officer working 12 hours. So we corrected that by doing what's called flex time. Within every 2-week pay period, the officer would, instead of working 7 12s, they'll work 6 12s and 1 8. We're leaving it up to the squad sergeant to ensure that it's taken care of every 2 weeks and that the schedule is not hampered by it in any means. So with the number of personnel on the 12s, he can adjust them around and let them take it when they want to, even early on a shift if they want to come in 4 hours late. But then he can monitor it to ensure that it's not messed up, which will give him the 80 hours every pay period instead of the 84 like it was.
So everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy except for Margot, but I gave her a big hug and she smiled, so.
That's good.
Letter C, our social worker internship started with Mona Garcia. As a matter of fact, Sarah and Mona went to a couple of things for us today, including a thing with St. Jude Mobile Advocacy and a SAFE meeting with Geminis. We started reattending the Geminis program because there's some funding potentially to get a social worker inside the police department that could work for both the police, fire, and EMS, as well as the town hall. I've had some discussion with Amy Early, the fire captain. They want to start a peer program, which is what we were in the process, as Mr. Villalobos and Mr. Stick can remember, is the new wellness program that we're trying to put together. It includes a peer program. So we're going to work together in melding that so that both departments kind of works harmoniously with those two programs. She actually went to some training that the chief may bring up. And so we're working pretty vigorously on the wellness program. We want to make sure that we adopt everything in there and that officers or firefighters or staff are able to go to where they need to, when they need to, without any difficulties, I guess is the best way to say that, right? So we're working pretty hard on that wellness program, and Mona, our intern, is helping us put it together. So she's working on her master's in social worker. So.
Did you go to that Indiana DACA recovery program, the government-sponsored, where they have established the employee assistance program and all the steps on
Oh,
how to do it?
that's the state's.
Yes.
Yes, we've seen that. Matter of fact, Sarah used to be involved in that directly when she worked for the state. But that's specifically the state's response alone.
But it said that we could adopt this program.
We can't.
And then we'd be protected legally from any employee issues.
Yeah, we're trying to meld that with other things that we know we've had within the town, so that it's all encompassing in one program, in one wellness program, one policy. So that's what we're working towards.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Training report.
All right, sir.
I've been updated.
All right, you got it going?
We're going.
All right. So you see the end of the year training report there for all of 2022. We had a total of 1,356 hours of training and 151 and a half hours of instruction. So training went pretty good, and we're going to keep moving for next year. So your next one will be just with 2023 stuff. Any questions on training?
Anything on equipment?
Any other stuff on? Oh, yeah. All the cameras are installed. We body cameras are being issued. Started yesterday. So they have to be synced in with the car with the officer that has that body camera, so that car knows that that's officer's body camera. So we're still in the process it's going to take about 2 weeks to kind of smooth it out and get everything going. We also have some programming stuff that we have to do within the car. But all the cars are up and running. We've had some mechanical issues with the cameras falling off the window and stuff like that. I don't know if it's cold weather, so we've corrected that issue. So, we had one camera that just didn't work flat out. It had a blue screen. So luckily we have 3 spares. We took one of the spares, replaced it, and have sent it to Motorola. They're sending us a new one as we speak. So.
How about the officers? How do they feel about the adoption of that policy?
The body camera, there wasn't one against it. As a matter of fact, I probably had 7 officers that purchased their own before we did this.
Very good.
They had their own body cameras.
Good.
So.
Okay, number 10, monthly activity reports.
So you can see the end of the year activity reports for the year of 2022. We had 12,452 calls, averaging just over 34 calls a day. In the month of December, we had 1,078. We issued 114 state citations and 4 town traffic with 27 ordinance citations in the month of December. We had a total for the year of 1,935 tickets for the year. Warnings, we issued 414 for the month. We had 3 town violations and 47 ordinance warnings for a total of 464 for the month. We had a total of 4,545 written warnings for the year. We had a total of 27 arrests in the month of December, 56 charges with 34 misdemeanors and 17 felonies, 1 infraction and 4 warrants. We had a total of 342 arrests in the month of, for the year, with a total of 631 charges filed. And where's that? You can go to the ordinance and letter B, that's ordinance issues for the year.
Sure.
You can see the totals there. 611 ordinance warnings were issued, and we had a total of 667 ordinance citations through our code enforcement officer for the year. You also see a annual report that you will receive in January of every year by our policy, which is our use of force. Gives you the percentages of use of force and brief synopsis of them. Did we go back in and do the handwritten one, sir?
We did not have
Okay.
it from that time frame.
Okay, so, this technically starts, this is all automated now, because it's all through the computer, but it didn't start till April, so, these are all April automated use of forces. But this is the use of force and the training in which we have on them, and the review, section to look at them, like we do each and every time, so, there's your copy. And
I
then,
noticed that weeds were on here.
one more time, sir,
Weeds,
weeds?
weeds.
Yes, sir.
Does the clerk treasurer have to advertise for that?
Yeah, she does in March.
Okay.
Mhm.
Do we keep abreast of that?
She advertises it in March, for the entire year,
Okay.
so yes. We usually wait till the snow's gone. So, and then we'll give
So I
them,
know when you're.
then we won't issue out citations. Usually, we don't start writing tickets though until May 1st, because some yards are wetter than others, and it's hard for people to cut the grass, or, you know, we have that late spring snow or something like that, so. And then, Corporal Presti had a Principles and Concepts of Personal Safety class, we held that on January 14th. We had a total of 30, 25?
Probably.
Around 25 people here, just civilians that wanted to take the class. It was free of charge. Lasted about 2 hours, correct? Got some pretty good feedback. I have been reached out, or was reached out by the library director, wants to put on that class again over at the library. So we're trying to direct them towards the parks director now, since we have one with Pope, or what's her official title? What's her official title?
Coordinator.
Parks coordinator? Recreation coordinator, thank you. So we're trying to steer them towards that, so that she can coordinate the training and any help they need from the police department.
He does an awesome job with that, so
Yeah.
pass that on for us.
I will do that,
My
sir.
wife and I went last year.
Yeah.
He does a good.
Yes, sir, I will. It's actually pretty popular. I was surprised. He goes into great detail on being aware of your surroundings, and so I'll leave it at that, because you should take the class.
The Parks Department's doing some pretty cool things.
Yeah.
For the community.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we move on? Okay, Lexipol, I want to give everybody an update. We're constantly working on updating Lexipol, updating our rules and regulations. A couple months ago, Attorney Austin recommended that we form a subcommittee to look into the rules and regulations, and we don't have enough time to do it here like we do. We spent 3 hours with police, David and myself, and it was great. I'm glad we did it. Now we understand Lexipol a lot better than we did before. Sarah did a great job, and let me see this is what was involved. This stack of paper right here, what we reviewed. So,
We almost got through it all.
yes, so, it was great. I would like to suggest that, Jim, with your involvement with the fire department, you and somebody else get together with Todd and have your fire department subcommittee, like, you know, so you'll really appreciate, understanding Lexipol more. I mean, it was great.
I think a lot of questions were answered too,
It
right?
was.
Yeah.
Well, I was very-
Dave came with a pack of questions, and
Right.
we got through most of them before he had a chance to ask them, so it was kinda nice. So.
And then Sarah came up with your spreadsheet, or flow chart, or whatever, great job, kind of broke down what we talked about, and, either one of you can take it from here as far as kind of a brief of what they're looking at here on 11A.
Do you want me to go over it, Dave?
Well, just brief for the other,
Are we gonna vote on these now
Yes, sir.
to approve them? Well, then, yes, you should review them.
Okay. All right, so policy 103, in the policy manual, we rejected a few sections in there wanting to put the chief of police as the ultimate authority. We kept it as a board of safety. They wanted us to remove NYLEA, but we had to keep that because NYLEA is our police academy. On duty and policy statement change, for supervisor, we rejected it. When I say reject, so you understand it, not that we reject the policy, the section that they're recommending to update, we would just click reject. For instance, the term NYLEA. That's not something that Lexipol understands, but we do up north because it's our police academy. So they say, well, you don't need that in there because it's not there. Well, we just click reject, and then they're like, okay, you can keep that. That's a local thing that you want to keep. So that's what we mean by reject. Some updates on chain of command, division commander, squad leaders. A lot of, I will say this too, the majority of these were updates that were what we believe is because Lexipol wants to be accredited like CALEA is. So they had to update policies to become more accredited. And they specifically said that. It said update to meet the Indiana Enforcement Accreditation Commission standards. And records and archive stuff. Did I miss anything there, sir? 103, accept edition. 105 was review of ethics. So it was a new ethics policy, completely brand new. We had an ethics subchapter, or a statement, for lack of better terms. Now we actually have an ethics policy. We've kept the majority of the stuff, or we've kept everything that was in our ethics statement and just added to it this new ethics policy. Training, we accepted some recommendations just as their training for remedial training had to do with when an officer doesn't meet standards and how we meet their remedial training, ensuring that they have that ability, and some training record requirements. New addition was added per the academy. Policy 209 is the emergency management plans. Policy is developed to meet the Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standards, requiring written directives establishes. This is still pending. We're finishing up that EOP that we got to get to David by the end of this week. Policy 300 is our use of force. This was the large use of force update that came from Lexipol as well as David Austin for the mandated updates. Did I miss one? Yeah, I said 303. Policy 300 is use of force. This was the mandated changes that had to take place in the use of force policy per the training board, meeting minimum requirements. This was the facts that I got from Mr. Austin, and it has been updated by Lexipol as well as us to add those specific items, which was very large, about 7 pages. And we went through those line by line with both Mr. Villalobos and Mr. Steck. Policy 303 is control devices. We kept most everything, with the exception of is this where we changed the term taser, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So in this one, we changed the term taser because we don't have taser anymore. We got rid of, is it the next? Oh, I'm sorry. This one was for updating their definitions. 304, conducted energy device. Updated this to stipulate, since we don't use the taser anymore, we have phaser now. We changed all the terminology from taser to phaser. Who's in charge of it, and who is required to download that information. Policy 306 which was firearms. This was also an update to meet the Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission 110, requiring a written directive establishing the agency's weapon and ammunition requirement. So we updated and approved these changes with a couple of paragraphs. We did reject a few sections, and added the taser or CEW. We call them conducted energy. I'm sorry, CEW is conducted energy weapon versus just the name.
And the only one in that was the 3065 was the clearing barrel. What did we do with that?
We're going to put that new clearing barrel that we purchased in the squad room for now until the new station is built. Actually, I had a conversation with Eric today on where it's going to go, the new clearing barrel in the armory.
hasn't been installed yet?
It has not, we just haven't had an opportunity.
It's heavy enough, I don't think it moves.
Yeah, so they've been doing some construction on this side of the, station, so we haven't had an opportunity to get it installed. We had an update on policy 307, which is vehicle pursuits. It is completed, did we go through that with them yet? So we have to finish that one with you? Oh, yeah, there's my actual bed.
We don't have 307.
Yeah, because it's not ready, we haven't reviewed it with the team yet.
We didn't have 209 either.
Because it wasn't.
Got it.
There's a couple pending.
Okay, these are pending, I apologize, I grabbed the wrong ones. Yep. We had an update on policy 311, domestic and family violence. Updated to meet the Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standard, requiring written directive addressing that agency's procedures for handling employments involved in domestic violence incidents. We did not change any of that. We did change the word from should to shall in one occasion on 311.4. And we did not delete the other sections, but accepted one addition. 312 on there? Search procedure update, this was updated requiring written directive establishing criteria for warrantless searches in accordance with the contemporary criminal procedure requirements. We accepted all those recommended changes. 401 bias-based policing. This requirement requires agency enforcement personnel to be trained in the impropriety of racial and bias profiling and policing at least every 3 years. We did change that. We do that training yearly. 423 is medical aid and response. This one was for AED users responsible in training, maintenance sections, and content that was edited. And we also changed the term he and she on several occasions to officer. Policy 500 was traffic. This one required established protocols for certain special situations, including non-residential violators, immune government officials, and military personnel. We accepted those changes and changed the terms he and she. 501, I'm sorry. 501 was this was the amendment, correct, for Norm? This was the amendment spelled out during vehicle damage reporting at the request of Norm for the Board of Safety that we missed a few things. We also added notification of the South County Crash Team for serious bodily injuries and removed ISP or any others because there is nobody else that we can call for assistance. 507 was traffic procedures. It was required to establish procedures to conduct motor vehicle stops, including stops where the risk to the officers is high or unknown. This basically spelled out the different styles of traffic stops and on how we use that. In the academy, we call it the STOPS program, strategies and tactics of patrol stops. It also went into detail about the pit maneuver and roadblocks, when anything is authorized, if it can be, and whether we should or should not do it. The pit maneuver, which is the officer hitting the side of a car, is authorized, but it's very, very limited. Must be approved by a supervisor, and it must be an extreme situation to which the approval is allowed. And the most important part, that officer has to be trained in the pit maneuver, which not every officer is. Policy 700, investigations and prosecution. This one requires establishing case management system for criminal investigations. We didn't modify this in too much because we already have a case management system through Spillman, which we pay for through the county. So this one, we had a few lists that we corrected with Carl and its procedures and the screening process. 703 was informants. This was requiring a written directive describing all agency cash accounts relating to buy and expense funds. We accepted the additions and changed the he and she, but we don't have those, so we don't have any funds. Collection of 709 was collection and preservation of evidence and procedures. This required guidelines regarding evidence found at crime scenes and crash investigations. We approved and accepted this new policy 709 and changed accident to crash again. Policy 803, department vehicle usage, amended to update the wording, including the changed accident to crash. So that was included in the update of 501 for your request. What number is it? 902 was evidence room. This one related to Property Bureau Security, updated to add alternate property officer, processing and packaging. Regarding additional documentation, serial comma was removed. Exceptional processing to include additional classes of property, transfer of evidence to the crime lab, how it's done, regarding documentation of the lab, its timing, how it's reported, and regarding timing and other requirements related to inspections. We accepted this, changed the he's and she's to officer throughout the policy. We updated it with the list provided by Deputy Chief Brittingham to change the processing and packaging wording to update with the current practice and terminology. We accepted the government property and jewelry gemstone edition with those requirements as the process, and updated 90272 as the process changed. Because we don't use control cards anymore, everything's done through Spillman. There's no card per se anymore. 903, records and maintenance and release. This was a require that an agency written directive ensuring the security of the agency's central records, including records retention and disposal requirements in accordance with the Indiana Archives and Records Administration. We accepted all these because we follow the Indiana Archives and Records Administration schedule to the T, so we don't destroy or get rid of anything unless it's allotted by them, or we follow their procedure to do so. 906, yeah, that's one of them, right? Southcom procedure. This one developed to meet the Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standard and supplements for communication center policy for misdial or abandoned 911 calls to comply with the standard.
We scratched the Southcom procedure and we made cybersecurity 906.
Oh, you know, is that because we were having Kelly go through that?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I have the old list because we've changed this list a couple of times.
Cybersecurity is now 906.
906 is cybersecurity. This is a new policy developed to meet the Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standard requiring an agency has an established agency cybersecurity program. We gave this to the IT director of the town. 906 was rejected. 906 itself was rejected, and this policy became 906. Accepted this new policy to include the information that was given to us by the IT director and his recommendations. Temporary custody on policy 1000, temporary custody of adults, requiring written directives regarding temporary custody of adults. We accepted the term held. They wanted to change in a paragraph. Booking subsection, emergency alarms. We changed the he and she throughout the policy again. And accepted a few additions. Temporary custody of juveniles. This was requiring written directive establishing procedures for taking juveniles to short-term custody. We accepted those changes in 1001 and also changed the he's and she's throughout the policy. Recruitment and selection. We updated this to meet Indiana Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission standard, including recruitment 31.1.2 regarding training and recruitment, and a serial comma that was in there. Selection process, requiring background checks of all candidates, the examiner's qualifications, probationary periods, requiring procedures for unsuccessful completion of probationary period. We did reject this one. This only pertains to the Sheriff's Department, which is specifically stated that. We got rid of the term Administrative Division Commander. We kept it as the Chief. Accepted 11,000.3. We did change a few little words, some wording within there. We added the policy 1133.2 to the section for pre-employment drug screening. Rejected the new 1133, which is a new policy due to its redundancy, and accepted some additional changes in 1100.4 and changed his and her throughout the whole thing. 1110. Personal complaints, requiring an established disciplinary process and potential corrective action for personnel. We made updates as provided by legal counsel. This was the policy that Attorney Austin went through it line by line with his recommended corrections on there. So there was about 6 pages of things he wanted to be either checked or corrected or updated on. Policy 1112 was the body armor. requiring body armor policy to be outlined to use, the use of body armor, including its use in pre-planned high-risk operations. We rejected 11 for its title change recommendation, but we accepted 1112.3.1. Our body armor is always on, so, and officers have to keep the extra one in their car, so. 1132, nope, 1106. Is that it? 1106, Sarah?
1106, they're going to vote on separately.
Okay. Was that the last of them?
Correct.
I hope I got it all.
Thank you. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but in identifying this, I would say in our, it would be number 11, Lexipol policy update, see spreadsheets 11A and B in packet. Can I have a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion we approve these policies just reviewed.
Second?
Second.
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Josh Gober?
Yes.
Jim Olthoff?
Yes.
Dave Villalobos?
Yes.
Norm Dick?
Yes.
Charlie Capers?
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me, I'll explain this. We found out we didn't have a policy as far as the police department or the fire department addressing drugs and alcohol-free workplace. This policy was totally generated by Lexipol. So,
Let's rephrase, we do have a policy against it. We just have a new policy that's specifically for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
well, we found out we had to
Right.
do something better.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay, when we reviewed this, there's a section under Employee Assistant Program, and the first states that there may be available a voluntary employee assistant program to assist those who wish to seek help for alcohol and drug problems. It was felt that needed to go a little bit farther. So, what we decided to do was, since we didn't have this in place like this, that tonight we want to approve this, and then we would like to modify that portion there, which we will get feedback from Attorney Austin. Chief Fisher had some great ideas what to add in there, and then David had some ideas, so we're getting this in place now, and then we're gonna modify it.
Yeah, we're gonna update it immensely because we're adding a wellness program.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
So we're adding a wellness program, a wellness policy that will also be connected to the peer program that we're working on with the fire department, so that it's all encompassing one policy. If an employee has an issue with an addiction problem, they have a policy they can go to, that they can self-report it, they can come to us and we can get them help.
And that'll be adopted by both the
Yes,
departments.
so that explains, hopefully that explains
Yeah.
why we did this, so, can we have a motion to,
So that's a work in progress.
This one is, we're gonna adopt this to have a drug and alcohol-free workplace, but we will amend this as we finish the wellness problem policy.
Can I add something? So
Yes, ma'am.
this 1106 policy, you've already approved it. We updated some of the wording to
Okay.
it, and it was kind of pending, waiting on the other stuff to be added. But I believe in talking with you two gentlemen during our subcommittee meeting, we felt that we wanted to get it out there again as a refresher to them in conjunction with the amendment
Yeah,
expiring in the
that-
next month.
that 1106.5 area?
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, so right now, this is just gonna change your pronouns,
Yep,
and that's about it for this, and we're still waiting for the rest of the development.
absolutely.
Very
And
good.
then
Yes,
we'll
sir.
get Attorney Austin involved when we,
We may need some of his advice on some of it, but, most of it is actually just the officer, the employee's ability to know where to go. Right, we're trying to get some of that. We're gonna have some physical fitness standards within the police department, some minimum requirements, giving them so much time. It's a big wellness whole policy is. There's also a whole peer section that's gonna be in there related to traumatic incidents, giving them the ability to seek assistance if needed.
And this is the correct 1106? that's correct?
For now, yes.
Okay, can we have a motion to,
And could you state the names of the people that make the motion in the second?
pardon me?
Their names, because I can't always tell who's making the second
Okay, sure.
motion.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve policy 1106 as written.
Second?
Second.
Jim? Roll call, and then this, as we discussed, will be... Roll call vote, please.
So I have a motion from Dave Villalobos and a second from Jim
Jim,
Olson,
correct.
correct? Okay. Josh Gober?
Yes.
Jim Olson?
Yes.
Dave Villalobos?
Yes.
Norm Stick?
Yes.
Charlie Caver?
Yes.
Okay.
Our last thing there, sir, is, and other, all I have for you is that we conducted interviews for a new K-9 officer. We had 5 officers apply for the position. I brought in a commander from the Hobart Police Department and a K-9 officer from St. John, as well as an officer, K-9 officer from Kent County to do the interviews of these 5 individuals. They've ranked them up into the top 5, 1 through 5. We're gonna meet with them next week. As you may not know, we also had Sarah and Stacy, who is the owner of, repeat the name of the company again?
Protecting K-9 Heroes?
Protecting K-9 Heroes.
And Tom Fish.
She has received a donation to Protecting K-9 Heroes and is going to fully fund a brand new K-9 officer, including the cage and everything.
That's awesome.
Training, everything.
What were the criteria they were evaluated on?
They were evaluated with questions that came from the K-9 officers. Our staff did not ask the questions, but we let the actual K-9 officers that have been doing it. I let Simon Gresser, who is the commander for Hobart Police Department and a master K-9 instructor, conduct the interviews so that we kept it impartial. But I'd have to show you the questions. Like if you want to stop by tomorrow, I can show you the questions they're asked.
Anything
So we'll
else?
be selecting them shortly, and then we'll be letting you guys know who's going to be selected and how that process is going to go.
And when does this K-9 Heroes donation come in? When are we gonna get this?
As soon as we select the officer, she's ready to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
fantastic.
she pretty much told me, hey, if you can't get it done by February or March, let me know, I have to give the money somewhere else. The only few stipulations, one is where we get the dog from. She wants the dog done, the training done in Michigan, which is not too far away. It's only about an hour, 2 hours away, so the officer will have to stay there during the week. And the other one was that the dog's name's gotta be Johnny, named after the, deceased brother, that passed away from, addiction issues.
Okay, great.
So.
Notes itself, wow, it's a dog bones.
All right, and the last one was, last 2 days, I've been down in Indianapolis at the State House, Tuesday with a bunch of police chiefs for a new bill that's coming across, a grant program that we're trying to get passed, to get license plate recognition cameras, on a grant for us, along with some other equipment. And then yesterday, myself and, the town manager, Chris Salatas, went back down to Indianapolis, met with many senators and House of Representative members, trying to get, one bill passed for one stipend to build a new police academy for NYLEA. They're trying to get $10 million. We feel pretty good about it, but it is still a long session this year. It's going until April, so, but it was, very educational. First time I've ever seen that, heard about it, seen it on television, but never actually watched how the process works. So, we got to testify in front of them and talk to many of the representatives, from our state, and, it was very interesting, so. Got a lot of help from Chris yesterday, too. The guy knows a lot of people down there.
Wow. Good.
Good.
And I'm done, Chief.
Okay.
Sorry it took so long.
Chief, William, you're next. There are communications, 13.
I'd like to formally invite to the Tim White ceremony that we are having on the 25th of February. The invitation is going out tomorrow as well, email-wise, and to people in the community. Tim White was a firefighter that died in the line of duty back in 2011. He was attending a training. He was on a technical rescue team for the county through our department. He fell ill at a training. It was a very hot day and ended up passing away 4 days later, 5 days later. It was the only and first line of duty death that we ever had in Cedar Lake. He was a really good guy, a really good firefighter, a really good person. And we gave him he obviously got the full honors funeral. It was very hard to get through. There's not a day that goes by I don't think about him or see his picture. But the Patriot Guard reached out to me, and they have been updating their list of people that they think they should be honoring. They reached out and asked if they could honor him and give the family the flag to be presented to the fire department. So how that kind of works with them is that the family would be presented with the flag would be presented to me by the family, it'd be displayed at the fire department, and when I retire or leave the fire department, I could either take the flag with me as a memory piece as the chief of the department, or donate it to the family back, which I would obviously give it to the family. Now, and what ends up ultimately happening is the family typically allows it to be hung at the fire station in remembrance. So that's on the 25th. We'll have some food, a short ceremony. The second party that we're having is going to be at the Eagles for retirement of Pat Scolari. You're all formally invited. His retirement party, he'll be the first career union firefighter that retired from our department. And that is going to be March 4th from 1 to 5. Thank you, Dave, for the help with the Eagles. It'll be at the Eagles. And so that'll be an open house type thing where you come in, there'll be some food, drinks, and then wish him well. He's already gone. I did ask him if he would do a exit interview. He said he's already exited and that he is in South Carolina. Now he comes back, he has to work one more shift, and that's going to be March 2nd. But he was willing to do it, but he really didn't want to. So I can ask him again if the commission insists, or you guys would like to reach out to him, that'd be fine too. But he will not be here very long and does not plan on coming back sometime soon. So I think he's going to enjoy the warm weather, obviously. That's all I have under communications, sir.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, one more thing, I'm sorry. CPR classes, we've been advertising those as well, so anybody that's interested, public is interested in CPR classes, just reach out to Sandy at the fire station. We have a committee that takes care of that, and we have a handful of instructors, so when the classes start popping up, if you get on our list, we can call you and let you know what the dates are.
How much are they?
$25.
Can't remember, because they won't have an increase for cars.
Do you have something in cooperation with the Park District too?
Yeah, we actually, they reached out to us, we're gonna be doing that as well with the Parks District.
That's not scheduled yet?
No, Sandy's handling that, so, the Parks District wants to, and conversation I had with Dale, they wanna do like annual stuff for different groups, like, over, 60 and stuff like that. So we're gonna work hand in hand with them. The charge for the actual class is for the certificate and the card. We don't make any money on it. And it all goes through the Fire Association.
Okay, number 14, reports.
The finances, if you look at our financial report, you can see that we've had a pretty big month at the first of the year we typically do when it comes to fixing things, repairing things, and our clerk treasurer likes us to encumber certain items so that we take the money away from the budget so it's gone. We know we have to do certain things throughout the year like ladder testing, pump testing, stuff like that. It has to be done. Couple of the hot spots in here would be the ladder truck, outriggers repairs, $5,000. That is just we haven't even got that truck back yet. We're still waiting for an estimate on what's gonna cost, because it's got a computer issue that they're trying to work with the manufacturer on, so that truck's been gone for 2.5 weeks. A module for the ambulance, $1261, that was $5,000.
Was that the one for the airbags?
That was for the airbags, yep.
Wow.
Yep. That ambulance, we had problems with day one with the same problem, but obviously it's too old now to warranty. It has had it fixed 2 or 3 times. Dive gear, we recently updated some of our dive gear. You can see that PO on there. Any questions on any of the other expenses as far as the fire department is concerned? Okay, other than that, you got the rest of it, so we can move on, Commissioner, if you'd like. If there's no questions.
Under 14B, meetings,
Chief Monitor, myself, and Sandy recently had a meeting with the town manager to discuss the fire department, this year's, review as far as expectations and things going on in the fire department. As far as capital improvements needed, a few highlights from that meeting that the commission would find interesting is that obviously right now with the economy and the way, the delivery of things, we need to get an ambulance and probably another fire engine in the pipe as soon as possible. We're finding out now that the fire trucks are 24 months out. Even the demo trucks that are out there, people are gobbling them up, they're not there. Good used fire trucks, they're hard to find. So in a discussion with Chris about, we have one in the pipe, we told him, especially in ambulance, as you guys can see the problems we've had with the ambulances, we need to get one ordered. They're 24 months out. So we're talking 2 years before anything's gonna get delivered, so, we have 2 engines that need to be replaced. So a discussion with him went well. He's gonna look at how it could be financed and how it could be funded, as far as future is concerned, so that was a very good meeting. We did discuss policies. He asked for a copy of the fire department and the police department's policies, so that he would have them at his computer. So we did talk about capital improvements, the new fire station, the renovation needed to be done to the current fire station. A long conversation with him about that. He told us about some upgrades that the town is doing as far as payroll's concerned, computer-wise. So there was a very good meeting held between us. We were here for almost 3 hours and discussed a lot of things. So things I'm going to be bringing back to the commission pretty soon is going to be discussion about personnel and equipment, capital improvement stuff too as well. We did discuss the fire department's budget in depth, and I can go over that with you as well.
so basically, when you talked about the ambulance problem, I'm finding out there's a wealth of knowledge in Googling stuff, so now I know what the 3 major ambulances are and all that stuff. What is your feeling as far as putting the body on a new chassis?
No problem at all, but the problem is the chassis.
Well, yeah.
That's what that's what we're waiting on, is chassis.
You would do the Ford first?
No, we do the old Chevy first.
Oh, that's older than the Ford?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big thing was, as far as the chassis is, the longest wait is the Freightliner and Internationals, because they're used. I had hoped that we could get one of those.
The Ford is what we're waiting on. The Ford chassis is what everybody's waiting on for ambulances.
But those are the longer waiting because they're used and other truck purposes,
Yes.
but the Ford would be the next slowest. But I had, thought it would be an idea to look into keeping the body.
Yeah, the International is a bigger chassis, which makes it difficult for us to maneuver around in our town.
Is that actually bigger than the new Ford?
The body on
I mean, is the ambulance, the International or Freightliner
Yes.
style?
Yes.
Is that actually bigger than the newest Ford we
Yes.
have? Is it
yes,
really?
yeah, we have a 550
Right?
Ford.
So the wheelbase is bigger on an International?
It's bigger,
Okay,
and it sits higher,
right.
and it's a nightmare to get around in our tight zone.
Well, it's hard just seeing them on the road that,
Yeah, it's easy to see that, going down Main Street, but when you're in Meyer Manor,
right.
Cedar Point
Oh,
Park,
I get it.
yeah,
No,
the ambulances we have right now are pretty big for those
Right.
areas.
Okay, well, I just thought that maybe that might be a way to go.
Yeah, we're all about doing a remount, it's just getting the chassis to do it, and then finding the actual company to do it. The company we've just recently bought our ambulance from, Osage, that particular ambulance is designed to remount. So we can pop that box off there and put a new chassis under it. The other two ambulances we bought, unfortunately, were demos. The ones that we have in service now, so. That's why they're falling apart. They're just, custom ambulances last long.
Okay. All right. So we're up to 15, staffing.
Staffing, I have a volunteer that, I was hoping to get, to you guys tonight to at least meet. For some reason, we can't get a hold of him. I wanted to have him last month, but there was some technical issues there. We have, a couple part-timers that were a couple guys on the department that are wanting to work part-time now, so they're going through the process as well. And we have one we're ready to replace Pat Scolari, and that's Fred Sanu. You guys have already approved him. He's on the agenda for the council meeting on Tuesday night. And once the council gives us the blessing, we can get him through perf. I hope that we get his perf back by March, because if not, we're gonna have to have somebody cover Pat's shifts until then, and that puts us into overtime. That's the reason why I wanted to do this in November.
Have under B for volunteers.
Yeah, I have one volunteer in the academy right now. The one you approved over a year ago, but we had to wait for the academy to come up. So he just started here a couple weeks ago, because it started first week of January. So, and I'm hoping to have, Ashton Cowder, maybe at your next meeting, and hopefully they'll open up another academy, sometime this year. We can maybe get him in earlier. But he's a kid that's looking for a career in the fire service, so he's just starting out.
And, okay, 16 training report.
Under the training report, I'd like you to also look at our year-end report, because the year-end report does have a lot of training on it. I did send you this year-end report earlier, and I did have some feedback and comments from some of you about the
You guys did
report.
a good job.
Chief
Very
Mager
good
did this report, and he does a fantastic job every year of putting this report together. I feed him data, and he goes for it, and it works out really nice, the program he uses. So, as you can see, our calls were up this year. We were at almost 2,000 calls. Our training numbers are way up. If you go to page 16 or 12, and you can see the difference between the fire and the EMS side, it's broken down to what type of calls that we had, and if you notice, we had 33 structure fires this year, which is a substantial amount of fires. I'm sorry, last year. This is 2022's year-end report. This report is supposed to be put on the town's website. I'm not sure if it's on there yet. but I asked for it to be put on. Also, if you'll go to page 13 and take a look at the past 5 years increases and the pattern, during 30% of our incidents, we have seen multiple calls. So 30% of the time when our units are out on calls, another call comes in. And that is becoming more and more every single day, which puts our staffing at a very, very, very low number. And there's times that we actually go 3 calls deep, and I think, if you look at the actual past 5 years, it's become a trend. That is, and that's not just medical calls, that's medical and fire calls, it's all calls.
So if this trend continues, how do you handle it?
We have to hire more people,
How many more people do you think you have to hire?
9.
Okay.
I have a proposal being, that I put together to give to the council here pretty soon. The town manager has it in stages to be able to have enough staffing to staff 2 stations. The council made a commitment at a public meeting that the stations would be staffed properly by the time it was open. So I've laid it out. So in order to get to where we need to be, by the time that station is open, we'll need 9 more full-time people. And that puts 4 at each station and a roaming supervisor.
And when do you anticipate the station to be open?
Well, we're 24 months out, so. Overall, salary-wise, that's about $800,000 increase in our budget. Now, the proposal does go in stages, so, once I get it completed, or once Chris is done reviewing it, it'll be distributed to you and the council. If you look at the next page of our report, it shows the incidents by area. There was questions in the community about whether or not an east side fire station is necessary. About 38% of our calls are east of Klein Avenue, almost 40%. So yes, there is obviously a need, and obviously with the growth and the development that's predicted, it's going to be needed even more.
The town just annexed some more land, didn't they?
Working on it.
Working on it? Okay, that'll have to be covered as well then.
Correct.
It's part of the area where the development is.
Yeah.
So you're looking into the future, it's gonna have to be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unincorporated Hanover Township was 350 calls last year. That's a pretty good size number. That's close to 20% of our calls. A lot of that is a very busy unincorporated area because of the growth and the traffic that's coming through there now. Hanover Township is growing, the unincorporated is growing as fast as the town of Cedar Lake is growing. It's just happening all at once, so. And underneath that, you can see what our busy months are, as far as the report's concerned. And the days of the week, and incidents and time. I'm not gonna go through all those with you, you guys can see those, but, and then the training, the hours for the training is a lot. We train every single day, and as you can see that, our training is actually up. That's all I have, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. And then, 17 equipment, we kinda talked about that a little.
We did talk about the ambulances. We have all 3 of them back in service. We got down to 1 ambulance at one time. So we borrowed an ambulance from our neighbor. St. John borrowed us an ambulance once. And then, we were under an emergency situation. Got the other ambulance back in service. So we were back to 2, and then it went down again. Another one went down, and we were down to 1 ambulance again. So then, the next time we borrowed Lake Hills' ambulance, which was our actually old ambulance.
We talked about that, remember?
Yeah. So, it was nice that, they were able to borrow it back to us, but now we're back to 3 ambulance is strong. I should say not strong. 2 ambulances strong, one's a backup and it's beat up pretty good, it's old, so, but it works and we use it, so.
Okay, 18 monthly activity report for December.
Yeah, December's reports, we had, the average call was 5.2 a day, gave us 176 calls for the month. One that kind of stuck out for me, in the last few months is the overdoses have actually dropped. So we're not having as many. Don't get me wrong, it still happens, but our overdose levels have gone down. The calls have gone down. Not substantially, but have. But I'm good.
Okay,
Unless you get what.
Yeah, the promotions we did in May and December, how are those folks working out?
Those are working out fantastic. We actually have, I had a meeting with all 3 of them and went through their actual promotional expectations, and everything is working fine. And we'll probably be doing it again here soon. As soon as Amy gets through her probation as a captain, so. And she's doing fantastic. She took over the EMS, division. She's got a lot of ideas. She's doing a lot of stuff. She's, networking very well with other towns, other departments. We're doing some joint stuff, so, I'm really happy with her, very proud of her. The dive, that's just getting underway, just getting off the ground. Tony's, Deadam is our dive division chief now. He's got a list of about $8 million worth of stuff that we need that he wants to buy, so we gotta reel him in a little bit, but he's all right, it's all good.
we sensed that when we interviewed him.
Yeah, it's good. He's very ambitious, and we have to, our battalion chief, Chris, he's a rock star. He just is. He just does a really good job. He went on a mutual aid call here on a fire just the other day. The chief that was running the call down, it was south, texted me and said, "Man, where did you get this guy? He's awesome. Your battalion chief just took control of the situation we needed to take control down here, and things got done." He goes, "You gotta be proud of him." And I said, "I am." But we wouldn't expect anything less from them. They're all very good, well-trained, and educated, and motivated. So.
Any, report on the new fire truck?
Nope, we haven't heard. We do know that we're going in March to go out and do the build, meeting on it out in Ohio. Chief Auger, myself, and my 2 battalion chiefs are going. That's our committee. Which we're looking forward to.
Anything else, Joe? Okay, 19, the Lexipol policy updates.
Okay, I have sent some updates out to you. We don't have as many updates as the police, so God bless you guys for having so many millions of them. We don't, our laws don't change as much as they do. I did send a handful out to Norm and Dave. I couldn't remember who the committee was gonna be for, so I'll make sure, Jim, you get copies of them, and whoever else is gonna be on that committee. Is it you, Josh?
Well.
We can meet and start going through them.
You wanna do it?
What's that? Can you do it, Josh?
He's got a job.
If you, I mean,
You
I'll
work
help.
with me a little bit.
I'll help.
Yeah.
No, we can do it at night.
Yeah, perfect.
I'm all good with doing it at night,
Yeah.
so, as long as Commissioner Altough is.
Fine, I mean, whatever, maybe,
Yeah, I don't wanna put you in a bad position, Josh, where you're not, so don't miss work, please don't miss work.
We're figuring it out.
But we can,
Yeah.
and if we do 7, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, I don't have a problem with that. Dinner. Well, dinner.
So, Todd, you're planning on mirroring, you know, 1106 along with the police department
Yes.
for yours?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Once they, I'm not gonna do all the work, I'm gonna let them do all the work, and then we're just gonna plagiarize it all.
He does that. He's been accused of doing that.
That's good.
You're welcome.
Hey, we're not about reinventing the wheel, let's just get,
Okay, do you have anything else?
just the update on the fire station, I'm gonna be billed to the point of, or to the point on this one, we just met with our committee a couple weeks ago. We're starting to do some little things, finalizing some little things as far as, the structure, or as far as some of the equipment, some of the things that are gonna be occupying the building, and, they just need some dimensions and things like that, so, it's getting very close to, breaking ground, and we're pretty excited, so.
So you're covering 22 where it says on schedule next to go over punch list, or is that?
Yes, that's what we're doing, yep.
Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I guess I did do that.
okay. So is that all you have
Hold on one second.
on the building and on your report?
We will be working on, one more thing, we'll be working on a Medicare audit, just for your guys' information, it's gonna take a lot of time. The clerk treasurer's office, myself, Sandy, and, maybe Cliff on some stuff that has to come through, their offices as well for this audit. We'll be working on this together. We had to, register, and we're waiting for our register information to come back. It takes up to 6 weeks, so we haven't actually started on it yet. But if this has to go through, we gotta get this done, or Medicare will cut our funding by 30%. So, we will be focusing on this big time.
I would say, is that all with you, Chief?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, under 21, legal report from Attorney Austin.
The MOU update is the subject of my review with the town manager on Friday this week, so I'll have more for you next month.
Okay.
I know Chief's anxious, and I am too, I want it off my desk, just like he wants it on his desk. Training reimbursement agreement, this item is also in process, and I'm reviewing a whole number of policy matters on Friday morning with town manager. This is one of them. And that would include the city, so a lot of catch-up is occurring. We had, as you may remember, we had an awfully busy year-end with fire, police stations, and financing, and the like, so all of this other stuff is now catching up. That's where I'm at.
Okay, thank you. Emergency operations plan.
That's still being finalized. It's completed. We had a few things that Sarah was completing that, she's ready to get it off her desk anyway, so we're gonna probably have one final meeting just to look over it before we send it to Attorney Austin's office for review, and then to send it to the town council.
Great. Does anybody have anything under other?
Do you have anything?
Okay, I have one. Sarah, next month's meeting, we have to change, because that's my week that I'm out of town.
Okay.
And so, we need to work on moving it one way or the other.
Can we get back to you to see what the schedule looks like for the town hall?
Yeah, I just want to announce and let you know that
Yeah.
we need to change that. We have a vice chair. So,
It's a short month, too, yeah.
if we could do that, I'd appreciate it.
Well, if we do it, we have to do it first week in February, and I don't think that's.
Okay, that's great. Is there anything else to be brought before the board tonight from you gentlemen? Chiefs?
No, sir.
No, we're good, thank you.
Okay, public comment, asking once, asking twice, asking 3 times. Motion to adjourn.
So,
Second? Bob, that was Charlie and Josh. All those in favor, voice vote. Aye. What are we?
One more. Let me see, clean hard copy of the ordinance.